Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up, my G.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Hello, salutations. How are you, ladies and gentlemen? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation in the kitchen, cooking up another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience and ready to serve it to you guys right in the public. That's right. I'm actually here. I'm doing it. Another cold day in the DMV, I got to tell you, but I'm okay with it, because I feel like, soon enough, things are going to change where, it's going to get even colder. Or we might get some snow, and then soon enough, what happens after snow, it starts to warm up a little bit. Then we're going to get the sunshine again, and it's going to be warm and the type of weather that I'm accustomed to, that I like, because I've said this again many a times. I'm a tropical person, being an Asian American. We are tropical people. We come from a tropical climate. I come from Vietnam, where there is no coldness and there is no snow. Now, I was not born and raised there, but that is where my family history originated from. That is my cultural background. And I got to tell you, like most Vietnamese people, we just do not like the coldness. But, they always say that in order to get to heaven, you got to go through hell a little bit. And if that's my Achilles heel, if that's what I have to go through, then so be it. I'm going to go through a little bit of a challenge, but, that's what it is. And I'm okay with that. And I'm loving it. Right now, today, I am recording at an undisclosed location. So it's a little bit private. It's not even on the GPS. Basically, to be honest with you and to, put it so shortly and bluntly, y'all are on a need-to-know basis and y'all don't need to know. That's as simple as that. So therefore, Hector is not here. He is not here assisting me. But it's okay, because there are sometimes I don't need his assistance, and it's okay. It's not required. So this time, Hector's not here. No, he's not getting paid. But again, we do appreciate all the love and support that we get from him. It's amazing, and I love it. I love it so dearly. And I appreciate, what he's done. He's a true MVP. He's a true warrior. We love him. And, Hector, thank you as always for helping us out, bailing us out, doing exactly what you do and contributing to make this podcast a very good one as it can be. You are an absolute, legend in the field. And, we cannot thank you enough. I got to say that I'm feeling pretty good. I decided to go ahead and get this thing started. A lot of good things have definitely been happening. And, one thing I want to start out with is just, getting that creativity bug back. There's been a moment in my life, especially this year, that I didn't create a lot of content for quite a while. And there was basically a lot that was going on. I mean, a lot of things, you can say that a lot of things basically took over recently, with a lot of, for lack of a better term, we could say that there was like a lot of obstacles that are in the way. Now, I'm not trying to say that I was using it as an excuse by any means of the imagination. No, I never try to use an excuse. Now these days, I try to explain things and just be honest with the audience, you guys, because you guys deserve it. You guys deserve to know what's going on. A lot of people have asked those questions. But there was a lot of things that are happening. a lot of things that were going on. One, as you guys know, I had a health scare earlier this year, facing congestive heart failure. That was not fun. I never thought that, at that time, being at 45, that I would have congestive heart failure, because I always thought to myself that I had, the perfect, well, maybe not perfect, but a good bill of health. But, being that somebody like myself, allowing myself to get there and to just, basically let myself go in a sense, not really taking care of my health like I should, and just really falling off the wagon of working out and health and stuff like that. It really just collected, and soon enough, like bad credit, it just sprung out and said, you know what, here's your notice. And I remember that day. It didn't feel good. It really didn't. And but I know that I'm in a little bit of a better place now. I have a better understanding, and I'm trying to do the best that I can to rectify that. Another thing that really got me going with why I really wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing with podcasting was that I did, as an actor, get into a lot of projects, and I really wanted to take advantage of it. As you guys know, I am a actor, and I love acting, and it is my true love. There are three loves that I have in life. One is being a podcaster. I've said this many a times that I love podcasting, and I love to do what I do in podcasting. I love to be creative. I love to tell stories. I love to show everybody that I can do something of this creative medium. And sometimes I even like to, show my mistakes, I should say. There you go. To show that I am human. I don't do podcasting perfectly. I do make mistakes. I do have errors here and there and so forth. But I feel like it's okay. What person really does their art correctly at a full 100%? I don't think anybody does. If there is, I'm completely shocked. And I will be proven wrong. But most of the times, we're just out here doing our thing. We're trying to have fun with it, but we make mistakes, man. That is just the way of life. And it's something that it's not a thing where it's like an arrestable offense. It's just you're doing something and you're having fun with it, and you're just doing it all in good and fun and all the goodwill. So, and then last but not least, honestly, I just didn't really have any creative, ideas and so forth. I drew a lot of blanks. This is a part of the thing that for anybody that's in a creative medium or just in an art that's just creative in general, no matter if it's, podcasting or painting or sculpting or just doing sketch work or anything of that sort, or even cooking, that is an art. That's really scary for us to really have that block, and to have something just, barricaded in our minds, to kind of lose our imagination, to lose our creativity, to lose that spark. It is scary. It had come to a couple of times, honestly, and I'm just being, 100% honest here. It has come to something of a situation where I would come into the Asian Sensation studio, and, I would have my notes. I would kind of have a game plan, and I would talk to Hector and the staff and everything. And, we go about it. We chop it up. We discuss about the ideas and where I want to go and the approach that I want to do it in. And, they just say, hey, that is a very good idea. I like your approach. Let's go ahead and go for it. So I go ahead, I walk into the booth, I sit down on my favorite chair, I got the microphone in tow, and I start recording. And then all of a sudden I make a mistake, and I start recording again, and I make another mistake. And then 2 mistakes become 4. 4 mistakes become 8. 8 becomes 16. 16 becomes 32. You kind of see where it's going. It's manifesting in increased numbers. And I felt really bad. You know what I mean? And I know I shouldn't have, because, again, like I said before, it's all in fun. Everything is cool. But to myself, honestly, I always have set myself in a high standard. I definitely want to be professional, and I want to make the best podcast that I possibly can, because I feel like if I don't give my 100%, and if I don't show you my 100%, to me, honestly, now I know it's not fair for me to say this, but to me, honestly, I feel like I would have failed every single person that, loves me and supports me, that loves the podcast, that supports the podcast, that is actually subscribed to my podcast and listen to it. And I don't know, I just kind of felt like in my head, when I have that type of thought process going on internally, it's just a scary thought. It just feels like George McFly said in the movie Back to the Future, I don't know if I could have took that kind of rejection. It's really hard, because you really want to do your best, and you want to, win over the crowd, and you want people to say good things about you. And then when bad things happen, they use that as ammunition to fire, the bad things towards you and try to weaken your will, your esteem, and everything. And that really sucks, you know what I mean? Because people in general, whether if you're a podcaster or if you're whatever creative medium that you're in, like acting or even, painting, sculpting, cooking, being a musician, etc., etc. Why do we do this? We do it because we love it, and we want the world to love what we love and to see what we love to do. You know what I mean? And we try, and we do it because, not only for some, maybe we want to be famous. For some, we just want to get it out there. But I think it's just that we are artists, and we want to put our stuff out there for you guys to enjoy it, for you guys to be in a situation where if you're really having a real messed up day and it's effed up and, it's just not really a good idea, and, you're just feeling a certain way, and, the mentality of anxiety hits, and, the depression hits and so forth. We want to be that force that kind of alleviates your pain, even if it's temporary, so that at that moment in time, it's like, oh, holy crap, dude, they did something incredible, and I'm feeling really good about it now. At least for right now, I'm not feeling bad. Whatever I was feeling before, if I was feeling upset or depressed or angry, at least at this moment in time, I'm not feeling bad at all. And that, I think that's our mission, and to have the creativity back, it's good, because I wouldn't be doing it right now. I really wouldn't be putting another episode out there for you guys. I probably would still be in a hard place, sitting down, trying to figure it out, and just ask, a whole bunch of questions, a million bunch of questions, and it's kind of sad. I myself want to be in this in a headspace where I'm feeling good and I'm ready to go, that I have a lot of creativity ideas and a lot of juices, and that's where it's at right now. I'm in a good place. I've been thinking a lot lately about certain content, what I want to record, just ideas shooting out in the yin-yang. I mean, sometimes they say that, when you celebrate a new year in life, all of a sudden you just kind of get inspired. I don't know if that stereotype, I'm sorry, let me say that one more time. I don't know if this stereotype is true, if that's 100% accurate, but at least in this particular situation right now, it's working. So I'm feeling good. I'm in a good spot. And, one day, it just kind of hit me. I'm sitting down and I just have like a notepad. And, on the opposite side of me, I have a pen. And, at first I kind of doodle around on the pad, just kind of draw shapes and, funny, weird designs, thinking like I'm the next Picasso or whatever. And next thing you know, I just ripped the page into a clean page, and I just started coming up with like ideas and concepts and so forth. And it's a good thing. It's a real good thing. Because, one idea became 2, and 2 became 4, 4 became 8. And next thing you know, it just kind of multiplied. And, and to creative people in general, that is a good thing. That is great. And then we feel inspired, and we want to keep going with that inspiration because it motivates us to go ahead and get something out there, to produce something out there, to produce it not only for you, but produce it for us. Because when we actually get something out there in the open, we feel good about it. We do. Like I don't know if you can tell it in my voice, but it's just like, holy crap, we're doing it. It's amazing. And that's great. And I wish to all my fellow creators out there, no matter what medium that you are, that you just keep it going, that you keep creating, that you never get stopped by the creator's block or get bit by a bug where you get derailed for so long. And it's true what they say, when you're derailed for so long, when you don't come up with an idea or anything, or you don't make the attempt to try to be creative. In this case, if I didn't try to be creative in this and try to put out something, I don't know where I would have been. I know I definitely would have been in a dark road, and that road is cold when you walk it alone. You know what I mean? There's nobody to navigate those roads but myself. So it's up to me to kind of figure out what to do. And I just feel great. I feel inspired. I feel like, I don't want to say reborn, because I feel like that's cliche and that's something that's, used a lot, maybe a little bit too much. But I do feel like a rebirth, I feel like a phoenix that, basically rose from the ashes. And here we are again, his resurrection. You know what I mean? I don't know how you feel about that, but to me, I feel like that's stellar, man. That is, wow. I'm feeling really, really good. And here we are, so that's where we're at. Hopefully, I'll keep the ball rolling. Obviously, what I don't want to do is run out of ideas. And what I don't want to do is, run the boat so much that I run out of the steam. You know what I mean? I do want to keep it going. I do want to keep it flowing. I do want to create. I do want to go ahead and put content out there. I do want to, do this because it makes me feel happy. It helps me to be in a good place. I think a lot of creators in general, feel that, when they start creating, they get themselves in the right space and a right frame of mind, and they feel happy because all their time and energy and effort is being, applied here, and it's working towards a purpose. And the more times that we do that, then the closer we get to the goal of completing, that temporary task that leads to the big goal. And I tell you, when you do that, you cannot go wrong. And I'm feeling happy. We're creating stuff. And why? Because we love you guys. You guys are the inspiration. I do this for myself too. I really do. But you guys are my inspiration. And I love it. And the creativity's back, and I'm glad to be back, baby. I really am. It's just amazing, and it's good, and it's a great headspace to be. So we're just going to end it here for right now. We're going to come right back. We got more stuff on the way, lots more to go, and more to discuss. So don't go anywhere, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience will be back. We're taking 5, and we'll see you in a few. All right, guys, let's go. What do you get when you have 2 undercover police detectives that are underestimated, who utilize their wit, charm, and skills to outsmart the biggest arms dealer and all of his puppets in the region? Then you get the highly anticipated action comedy film of the century, Miscalculated. That's right. starring Romel Xavier Morales, Dameron Kirby, and an all-star cast. Now streaming on Tubi, Discovered, and Reveal. That's Reveal. And now available for purchase on Amazon Prime Video. You heard that right. Now available for purchase on Amazon Prime Video. Miscalculated.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. That was a good break. That was awesome. That was definitely needed. But, I'm here. I'm back in the booth. I got the mic in hand. I'm speaking into the mic, and I'm motivated. I'm motivated, and I'm ready to go. Obviously, in that good mindset, I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling focused, and it's here. It's right here, and I'm here. And the words that are going to be coming out from my mind, straight projecting from my mouth into the microphone, it's going to happen. The process is going to happen. So here we go. Without further delay, I want to jump right into it. I got to tell you something. The last episode that I recorded, I believe it was episode 25. And I had the chance to once again have TikTok personality from the UK, from England, Just Cara, come out for an interview. And it was great. I enjoyed her company. She is always a great guest. And again, like I've said before, would definitely like to have her back again on a future episode. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I will do my best to work it out. But that is besides the point. On episode 25, her and I had a very lengthy discussion, and we had a lengthy interview. One of it was kind of based around, kindness, having kindness for people, and I always am a firm believer that, in this world, we must show kindness. We must show kindness because, we want to show love and respect for other people, no matter who they are in life. It is unfortunate, though, that, we have a situation where I addressed in the other episode of episode 26, which was the very recent episode. It's very unfortunate that we are in a world that, unfortunately, there's a lot of hate and, argument in general. A lot of negativity, a lot of negative energy all around, man. And for those that know me, I am a person that does not like to be surrounded by that negativity. I'm always been a very upbeat, a very positive person. I've always tried to look, at the upside of things. And I always want to try to, promote positivity and peace out to the world, because that's the type of person that I am. I hate arguing. I hate fighting. I hate, wanting to, throw those verbal fisticuffs to defend something that is wrong, because, we really shouldn't have to do that. Because it's unfortunate that we live in a world that people are mean and negative to each other. They make fun of each other because it could be a race thing. It could be a religious thing. It could be an orientation where maybe you're gay, or you're just bi, or part of the LGBTQ community, where you're a transgender. People may not like you for your politics, your belief system. It's gone far, even just to, in your professional life, where people make fun of you the way that you work when you've done nothing wrong. And I have to tell you, there's a line that has to be drawn, ladies and gentlemen. There is a line, because, we've always complained, and we've always been, crying about a situation where we feel that the world is not respecting us. And a lot of people are doing a lot of things, and it's getting us nowhere. And why hasn't people done anything to, try to change that? Well, I got to tell you, folks, I mean, I understand your frustrations and your anger. You know, I've been picked on a lot, back in the day, and probably even still now, I mean, I'm an Asian guy, but people think that either I'm Chinese, Japanese, or Korean, which is, number one, that's definitely not the case, because I'm neither of those nationalities. To be technical with you, I'm an American, because I was born and raised in the United States of America. You want to be technical about it, yes, I am Asian American, but my background, my cultural background is Vietnamese. But they don't teach you that. But yet they still just want to go ahead and say some bad things. They probably want to say other things like, I can't act. They say that I'm fat and out of shape. They say that, that because I believe in certain parts of Christianity that I'm, God, token idiot. They think that, that my way of thinking is totally wrong and so forth. And, and I'm just like, okay, you're picking on me. Fine, I can deal with that. But there are other people that get picked on a lot that can't deal with it. And that brings up a lot of high level of stress, high level of anxiety, high level of just like mental instability that just makes them go, off the edge. And it's sad. And, and for who and for what? Why are we doing this? Why are we hurting each other? Why are we putting each other in pain in that way? And it's sad because, I hate to say this about my own country that I live in, but the country that really does it the most, honestly, is us within the United States. And in that sense, it's like, dude, like, I am very, it makes me sad. It really makes me sad. And it makes me upset. And, as, an American, it makes me feel like, we have failed life. And we have failed the way that we do things. It's not cool, man. It is not cool. You don't hear other cultures in, like, let's say Europe that do that, or in Asia or Australia or anything like that, or even South America. I think they pretty much got it on point. And I got to tell you something. It hurts my feelings when we have to hurt each other just to make us, the individual, feel good. You know what I mean? It's a messed up situation. Where I came from, I was always taught that, it's all about love and respect for your fellow human being. Treat them the way that you want to be treated. Make sure that if something goes wrong, you make sure that they're okay. If they fall, you pick them up. If they're upset about something, better check on them and make sure that they're in the right headspace. And I think that that's a lost art. We just kind of forgot that. We forgot about, the human decency, the human way, the way of a human being. Now, I feel, a lot of people might say, well, why are you preaching all of this and blah, 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 blah. Maybe because I care. Really. Maybe because I care and I give a damn. I really do. I really feel like we need to really get this back together. We need to get it back on point. You hate somebody because they're a different race than you are. You hate somebody because they have spirituality and they kind of do that through religion. Maybe they have like a differences of opinion in terms of politics. Or maybe because, they're just, and once again, in the LGBTQ community, maybe they're gay or bi. Or they're a transgender that is just trying to figure things out and trying to find out who they are as a person, to find out their identity, to find love. You know what? Fantastic. We are all different, ladies and gentlemen. We are all different. We are all, different forms of living beings, coming from different ways of life. We all come in different shapes and shades, different ways of thinking, different ways of, of what we believe in, whether it's faith or politics or even orientation. But that doesn't mean that we're not human and that we don't have feelings. And it doesn't mean that we should actually take all the crap and the BS of all the negativity that's being thrown out in the world. And I got to tell you something. I will say it like this. If you want change, you got to be the one that has to make that change. You got to initiate that first step. You really got to go ahead and say, you know what? I hate the way that the world is. I hate the negativity. Great. I'm with you. But let's take the first step together and change it. I mean, they always say it, and it's an old school way of thought. You got to kill them with kindness. That's true. But you also got to kill them with, with the tolerance to look the other way. You know what I mean? Don't pay attention to all that crap that people are throwing at you, all the negativity and shade. If somebody says that you're not worth a damn, guess what? Tell them to kiss your butt. You know what I mean? If somebody says that you can't do it, tell them, you know what? Well, who are you to tell me that? You're not trying. It's sad. It is sad and it is ridiculous. And I hope that we really do get it together, folks, because I feel like if we're trying to actually improve, our way of living for the better as a whole, then, we got billions and billions of steps before we even get it right or even get to, the ideal room, the idea room, and just come up with, the patent of how to make things better for humanity as a whole. Another thing I want to talk about is about, in the world of acting, about, stunt safety in terms more so about, fight choreography and fight scenes and so forth. Now, 9 times out of 10, well, I can't even say 9 times. Any type of movie that you see, I feel like that at some point there's going to be a stunt. And even one of those movies will require to have a fight scene. Now, we all like fight scenes and we all like action movies. We've seen it all. Everything from, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Donnie Yen, Scott Atkins. We've seen a lot of people doing a lot of stuff that requires a lot of movement, a lot of physical movement, and a lot of fighting. Kicking, punching, tossing the human around, making a good physical presentation just for our enjoyment. Now, I'll admit, as a person of, acting that likes to do stunts, being a martial artist, I'm all about it. I am all about it. I actually got bit by the bug when I was young to watch Bruce Lee and, all of his movies growing up over on the Kung Fu Theater every Sunday. And I would tune in and it'd be great. And I was influenced by that. And I knew that it was really cool because it looked like they knew what they were doing. Bruce looked like he knew what he was doing. He made a great fight scene and it looked flawless. It was a dance. And all the steps in the dance of, fighting really made me a believer and made me really think, wow, this is cool, that maybe I could try it one day. And you have a lot of people, that are trying to put stuff together, directors and just people in general to do something. And I say that's cool. God bless them for it. But here's the thing. They are not knowledgeable and they do not do stunts and fight scenes and fight choreography. And I've talked about this with a friend of mine. We actually recently talked about it. And he had said that, he doesn't like it when, if he's on the set and he has to do a fight scene, and let's say, for example, because, he's a black belt in karate and he was working with another person that had a black belt in karate, they did a great fight scene and it worked out and it made sense. And they fed off each other and they threw techniques that made sense and that worked for them. But somehow the director and other people were like, no, this is not good. I don't like it. Blah, 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 blah. And what they had told me was that the director and everybody else, the doesn't know anything about fighting, doesn't train in the martial arts, they're not a black belt. You know what I mean? And for them to actually, say these things and to suggest something else, we disagree with it. And you know what? I understand that point, and I do agree with that. I really do, because one thing about, a fight scene is that you really got to piece it together, and you really got to know what you're doing. And for me, to be honest with you, when it comes to like putting up a martial arts fight scene, I rather work with a professional that knows what they're doing. Specifically speaking, if they are a black belt in a martial art, specifically something that deals with striking, because they know and understand the situation. They understand the technique, how it needs to be thrown, how it works, what technique works better, and they can explain why. It is great, and I like it, because with that expertise, that level of expertise and depth of knowledge, that reassures my safety. At least to me it does, because you know what you're doing, you understand the situation, you know how to explain it. I don't want to go into a fight scene and learn from somebody that has like no black belt. Like if you got like a red belt in Tong Sudo, kudos to you, but you didn't finish what you start. You can't even explain to me, the differences between this technique and why this technique would work better versus this technique. Or even better, I don't like it when somebody that has no martial arts training is going to tell me what to do. You know what I mean? Because they have no experience, and the stuff that they would talk about would probably make no sense. And whatever they suggest may possibly compromise the situation and put you at a high level point of danger, where you might actually get hit or injured. And that's a liability. That is something that, unfortunately, guys, I feel like this. If you are a director, if you are a cameraman or a sound man, that's great. I have a lot of respect for you in that. I would never tell you how to do your job in that respect. Never. Because I'm not in that field. You know what I mean? But I think there's certain people that need to stay in their lane. Let the people like the professional fight choreographers and the stunt coordinators guide the people on what to do. It's just that simple. Because they've been doing it for years. A fight choreographer most likely has like a black belt in some form of martial arts. Hell, probably more than one black belt. You know what I mean? A stunt coordinator has been doing stunts for years and knows how to fall and knows, how to do things and so forth. And how to do, jumping over things and land and crash through tables and all that stuff without getting hurt. And I think it's important for those individuals to train those that are going to do those dangerous scenes. Not the director, not a cameraman, not a sound man, heck, not even another actor that has not been properly trained or have zero experience. Guys, as much as I love y'all, I think that you should just stay in your lane and let the pros handle that. You know what I mean? I give praise in the sense that you might have an idea, and you can have all the ideas that you want. That's fine. I think that's great. But in this case, I don't think the ideas that you're going to present will work. For the simple fact that, if you can't explain why, if you don't know what technique and explain why, if you can't, calculate, the risk versus reward, and most of it is, not reward, sorry. End of the line. That's where I put the stop sign and just say, guys, I'm going to listen to these guys. You know what I mean? You wouldn't send a 5-year-old child to go ahead and do open heart surgery to try to save somebody's life, would you? No, that totally out of the question. That's something that, it's ridiculous. That person, that 5-year-old child doesn't know how to do that. He's no Doogie Howser, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a third degree black belt that has done stunts for a very long time in movies and films and so forth. And, what do I know? What do I know? We're going to go ahead and cut to a break. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and end it with a couple more things and just final thoughts and everything. So stay tuned, guys, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, blah. Let's say it one more time. Stay tuned, folks, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is coming back. When it comes to playing sports or performing stunts, safety is the number one issue when it comes to the possibility of getting hurt or injured. So what's the best way to prevent that? By investing in the best safety equipment on the market, Demon United. Since 1999, Demon United has been protecting extreme sport athletes and Hollywood stuntmen with their line of high quality and high caliber safety equipment. Whether you're snowboarding on the mountains cutting up the snow or doing stunts on the movie set, Demon United has what you need, from knee pads, elbow pads, spine protectors, helmets, and so much more. Go to www.demon-united.com for more info, and if you buy their gear online right now, save an extra 15% off by using the code PROTECTME. Demon United.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
Welcome back, everybody. I just want to piggyback over to the very first segment when it comes to about creativity. And this one is for all my brothers and sisters out there that are creative, that are podcasters, that are actors, that are musicians, that are painters, that are cooks. Whatever your creative medium is, I just want to say the following to you. Number one, I'm very proud of you. You're actually doing something, that you love and that you're not afraid to take that leap. You know what I mean? There are many people out there in the world that talk a good game, but never go through with it. They never pull the trigger. They never point it at the target and try to see if it can hit. But you guys are doing the best that you can at your creative medium and just making the best of your opportunity. And it shows. Don't think of yourselves as that when you're doing something and you're automatically failing. The only true way that you fail, and I repeat this one more time, the only true way that you fail is that you didn't try at all. The fact that you're out there doing your thing and you're making your content, that you're creating and doing whatever it is that you do that makes you happy, tells me that you are ahead of the game. Seriously, say less. Don't doubt it. Just believe in me when I tell you that you guys are doing great. Please keep going and keep inspiring, because it's individuals like yourself that makes the whole creativity world a better place. And whatever it is that you're doing creativity-wise, there's plenty of room and plenty of space for it to go around. There's enough to share for everybody. It's not a dominant competition. It is something where, hey, you might have something, but I have something. Maybe it's something that you never encountered. Maybe it's something that's a little bit different, but it qualifies. And, daggone it, I'm going to give you the best at what I got. And you know what? You have every right. And I say this one more time. You got every right. Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot do it. If you want to go ahead and do it, if you want to be creative, if you want to show it in your own way, whether, if you want to show it by a photograph picture that you post online on your social media, if you want to show it on video, if you want to show it on audio or whatever, please, go for it. I'm proud of everybody to every podcaster, to every actor, to every musician, to every cook, to every artist of every kind, whether if you paint, sculpt, if you actually draw, and do portraits, photography, what have you, even the martial arts, even tattooing. Guys, I'm proud of you. We belong to a very exclusive community and also, do I dare say, a great fraternity. One that I feel like everyone is inclusive. Anyone can join. You just got to have the heart. You got to have the heart. You got to have the will. You got to be willing to jump off that diving board and say, Geronimo! And just swing for the fences. And that's all I have to say about that. I think it's a great thing, and we really have to stick together. Us creative minds have to stick together, So keep doing what you're doing, I expect a lot out of each and every one of you. And if there's anything I can do to kind of, accentuate what you do, including if you want to be on my podcast show and talk about it, hey, I'm here for you. I'm all about the people with creative mediums because, the more that we actually, share each other's, talents and creative, methods, then the more that we actually draw a lot of attention in a good way. So I love you guys. I really do. To all my creative brothers and sisters, I love you guys. Keep creating whatever it is that you're creating. Or if you're not creating and you want to create, go right ahead. You know what I mean? Nothing can stop you. The world is yours. The world is your oyster. Let's get it going and let's get it cracking. I also have a bunch of questions here that I'm going to answer that I've gotten online. So let's answer a couple of them before I got to take off because I know, I do have a lot of things going on in the pipeline later today. Creativity is definitely one of them. So I'm definitely going to be, having the old, pen and pad, and just go ahead and put my thoughts into the notepad and just jot some stuff down. So here we go in no particular order. Josh from Severna Park, Maryland asks, hey, Kimbo, what do you like between having sushi or Korean barbecue? Josh, I do like both of them. I really do. But if I had to pick one that wins right now, it would be sushi. Mainly because, sushi's a little bit healthier. It is seafood, mainly fish. It doesn't have as much sodium content. So I feel like, when I eat that, I feel like, I'll live a little bit longer. You know what I mean? But I'm always down for a Korean barbecue. Bulgogi is definitely where it's at. Korean short ribs. It's all about the chicken. Sometimes I might get a little bit some spicy pork belly. I'm guilty of that. And every now and then, the spicy, it's the spicy squid. And I know to some people that's a textural issue and they're not liking it. But man, I'm all about that. I'm all about that. Since I can't have shrimp because I'm allergic to shrimp, the spicy squid and putting it in a Korean barbecue grill application is definitely the best method for me. But, overall, like I said, I do like both, but sushi is claimed to be number one. So that's pretty good. We have my man Victor from Los Angeles, California. He actually writes, hey, Kim, you say that you're a martial artist, and that is awesome. But do you think that people of the older generation, specifically speaking, anybody that's above 60 years old, can actually train in martial arts? Victor, yes, absolutely. I know for a fact that there are a lot of people that are 60 years old and older that are still doing it and training and kicking or just beginning their voyage into the martial arts. I can give you one example. One example would actually be Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef. He is a 10th degree red belt in the art of Chinese Goju Karate. He is also a practitioner of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, he is, I think, either a purple belt or a brown belt. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. So if Grandmaster Van Cleef is listening to it, I'm very sorry, sir. I really am. But the point is, he has been training for many years. And, even at his young golden age, close to a diamond age, he is not slowing down one bit. And because of that, he is a great example and a great inspiration for a lot of people, especially martial artists of the old and of the young. So, if age is not slowing him down, it really shouldn't slow anybody else down. I truly believe that, anybody at 60 years of age and beyond can go for it. But you got to know your limits, and you got to know, where you're at physically. So I would definitely just, be aware of that, analyze the situation, see where you can be at, and then just decide whether or not, if the martial arts is good for you. If it is, make sure that you pick the one that's good for your body type, that your skill type, and just, the type that's really not going to make you feel more in pain, but just more in tuned. So there it is. We have another question here. This one goes from Nicole of Rancho Cucamonga, California. Okay, that's actually near Los Angeles. Okay. And it says, Kim, what are your opinions on resistant bands as opposed to lifting weights? Is it pretty much the same thing or not? I'll say this, and if I'm wrong, then I apologize. Personally for me, I do like resistance bands. I think it's great. I do think it's a great exercise for toning the body, like your arms and such. And it gives you, I think, almost the same amount of resistance. The good thing about it is, with resistance bands, it's very good for extension and, flexibility. And it's also good because, if you just kind of tire out, let's say if you just do like an arm press or something like that, you can just go ahead and just kind of release it and hold it back, and it really won't do any harm, versus if you're actually touching a dumbbell and there's a lot that's going on and so forth. I think that the resistance band is a little bit more self-guiding. I also think that resistance bands are good for other exercises that the traditional weights and dumbbells cannot provide. Again, that is just only an opinion. It is not an expert fact. It's just what I think, and it works for me. But, if you feel that the resistance band does not work for you and you like the traditional weights, however you get the exercise and whatever is effective for you is the route to go. So, there's no beef and there's no problems there. You know what I mean? So it's all good. We have Liz from Jacksonville, Florida, and she asks me the question, Kim, on the previous episode where you actually interviewed the English girl, okay, I guess she means just Cara from episode 25, are you a cat person or are you a dog person? Personally, I'm a dog person. I really love dogs, and dogs are kind of like my thing. I'm not saying that I hate cats. I'm really not. I love cats. I really do. It's just, unfortunately, I'm allergic to cats. So there lies the issue. If I wasn't allergic to cats, that would kind of be that would be a tie. You know what I mean? And I don't know how I would break the tie. But for all intents and purposes, I'm a dog person. I've always been a dog person, never been allergic to dogs. Dogs are a man's best friend. And, I just think that they're amazing. They're cool creatures. They really love to see you. And they make great home protectors, you know what I mean? Depending on the breed of the dog. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion. We're going to go ahead and get one last one. This one, it hits home for me, and I'm really proud about this. This is from Randall of Ellicott City, Maryland. And Randall writes, "Yo, Kim, how about them Baltimore Ravens? The football team of the NFL, number one in the AFC football conference." Randall, how about them Ravens? I love the Ravens. As everybody knows, I am a Baltimore Ravens fan for life. I'm glad that we won the 2 Super Bowls like we did, one in 2000, the other one in I think it was like the 2012 to 13 season. It was definitely amazing. I think that we're doing really well this year, being 9-3 so far. Lamar Jackson is healthy and still throwing the ball like a beast like he is. We got Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham Jr. We also have Gus Edwards, a.k.a. Gus the Bus. We have a lot of great studs on our team right now. It's going great. Obviously, with the injury of Mark Andrews, our tight end, it does leave a little bit of a question of how we're going to do for the rest of the season. But I feel like if we keep playing smash mouth football like we normally have been this whole time, I think that we're going to do great things. I know that according to ESPN personality Stephen A. Smith on his podcast, The Stephen A. Smith Show, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way. So Stephen A. Smith, I love you, man. He actually believes that in the Super Bowl, it's going to be a Philadelphia Eagles versus the Baltimore Ravens kind of Super Bowl as of right now. But that would be interesting. It really would. You know, you literally would have the Battle of the Birds, the Eagles of the Eagles of Philadelphia versus the Ravens of Baltimore. You know, AFC versus NFC, 2 East Coast teams. You know what I mean? And they're going to do battle possibly over in Las Vegas if they actually play their cards right. If each team plays their cards right, I have no doubt in my mind that that's what we're going to see. So that's it, guys. That's all I have for you. You know, I'm just glad that I was able to do an episode and to really make it happen. And, you know, it's a great feeling. It's a really great feeling. Love it. Love it. You know, my creativity has, you know, been inspired, and, you know, I'm going to continue making content, and that's what I got. You know, that's what I got. Real quick, just go ahead and find me on Facebook under the search box and type in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Find me there and, you know, just follow me. It'll be great. I'm on 2 social media platforms under Instagram and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at TKHPC Experience, all in one word, all lowercase letters, no spacing. Follow me and I'll follow you back. I am on 5 podcasting platforms of Spotify for podcasters. We have Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Now, do me a favor. Please like and subscribe to my podcast on all the podcasting platforms. If you have Spotify, please give me a 5-star review. If you actually have Apple Podcasts, please give me a 5-star review and a positive written review. And the reason behind that is that the more 5-star rankings that I get on Spotify and the more 5-star rankings that I get on Apple Podcast with, you know, a positive written review on the side, that means that the podcast will go over to the front of the line. People will see it and they may take interest in it. They may listen to it and possibly like and subscribe to it. Also, do your boy a favor and please spread the word old school. You know, tell people about the podcast. You know, in person, face to face with people that you know. Also, spread it out on social media, like on Facebook and on Twitter, known as X, Instagram, and on TikTok. You know, that I would really appreciate that. So, you know, spread the word because sharing is caring, and also because brand awareness is important. You know what I mean? Also, if you want to be a special guest on my podcast show, if you want to be a special guest host, or if you have any constructive criticism, please email me. My address is thekimhoangpodcastexperience@gmail.com. Whatever the subject is, put it on the subject box, and then whatever you want to write, put it on the body of the email. Send it out. I'll read it. I'll get back to you within 24 hours because that is what I do. That being said, guys, I love you very much. Thank you for all the love and support. Thank you for just, being the great individuals that you are. Like I said before, I although I do it for myself and it is my creative medium, most importantly, I do it for you guys. And as long as you guys want me to keep on trucking and keep on providing some great content, then I will do so. I will do that until the wheels fall off and I can no longer breathe and the air left my lungs. You know what I mean? So I want you guys to enjoy life and be safe out there. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do because, it just doesn't do me any good if you land in a pine box and land 6 feet under. That's not what we want out of life for you. We want you to be happy. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be living life. And we want you to go for yours because, damn it, you are worth it and everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves a little happiness. So, that being said, recording remotely on a location that you don't know about because you're on a need-to-know basis and you don't need to know. This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian Sensation, saying thank you so much. Arigato gozaimasu. We will do it again, and I will talk to y'all soon. Peace, guys. I am out.